What's going on? This is Jabari98. I'm pretty sure most of the Genshin community has seen this article with the Genshin Impact developers talking about Endgame Content and this article with Gamespot. Had to stop myself from saying GameStop several times while recording this. This is actually my second time making this video, so forgive me if I start rushing through things, but my patience is kind of running short because my audio is kind of trash. But yeah, for most of the content in this article, it's mostly the Genshin Impact devs they kind of dodged most of the questions that were asked in this article. Like how in this first question, like right off the bat, they had asked like if versions like 3.0 or 3.1 are going to be expected to be 1 week shorter than usual, and will this continue with 3.2 onwards? They kind of like half answered it with this sentence right here. But a shorter update cycle will not influence the quality of gameplay and content. Please stay tuned. Which, you know, is kind of like par for the course when devs have to answer like certain like high demand questions on the fly, but that they don't have like defined answers from higher ups to give. So most of this article is honestly just the devs kind of dodging most of the questions that GameSpot asked. Like for this question right here, the introduction of Dendro has created plenty of new ways to cause elemental reactions, but some elements have been left out. Has there been any discussion regarding the addition of new reactions for existing elements? For example, could there be a new Geo and Dendro reaction? We have no such plans for the time being. They said right off the bat that we have no such plans for the time being. Key part being for the time being. So that's honestly what most of the article kind of ended up being. Just the devs dancing around the fire. So I didn't want to think too hard about the topics that were brought up in this article because things can't change. But then there was one section of the article that they gave like a hard statement for. You know, one of the things that I could take away from this, after remaking this video like 2 times already, I had to just sleep on it and make sure to see if my thoughts about this would change, but nah, it hasn't. So for this section of the article, the one that everyone's talking about, currently the Spiral Abyss is the only true endgame content for players at high adventure ranks. Are there any plans to release new permanent endgame content in the same vein as the Spiral Abyss? And he said, the dev said, the Spiral Abyss is one of the most effective ways for players to test out their party's composition and combat strength. If we design another type of permanent endgame that is similar to the Spiral Abyss, it might end up creating excessive anxiety for our players. Not everyone is interested in Musk Reef. I have no idea what that is. Just like the trading card game that we unveiled for version 3.2, we are also working on designing more interesting gameplay in the future, etc, etc, etc. So I've seen this sentiment in like, if you go to like other content creators like videos about in-game content, you'll see that they like in the comments of those videos, there's like 2 sides of the argument, to where one side wants the game to remain as is, as casual as it is, and to not have more in-game content at all. And the other side are all the players that have reached the end game and are just desperate for content to do besides logging in for dailies. And I feel like Genshin Impact is suffering from the exact opposite problem that Tower of Fantasy is having right now. Tower of Fantasy, right out the gate, at least in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but I feel like Tower of Fantasy has too much content to do on a daily and weekly basis for newer players. And then Genshin Impact has the opposite problem, where it's very easy for casual gamers to like get into, but as far as like end game content, there's very little amounts of it to like look forward to. Like there's Spiral Abyss and then that's it. So once players clear most of the content in the game, it's literally just Spiral Abyss and then just waiting for the next event, which is pretty dull. It's kind of the reason why I've been, I've been playing Genshin Impact at a more snail's pace anyways, because I believe last year I messed up and cleared all the content in the game, and bro, that wait for the next update where I had more stuff to do, where it was just Spiral Abyss and that's it, yo, that was so boring, bro. Oh my god. But yeah, going back to that comparison I made earlier, there's usually like two types of gamers, right? There's the hyper casual and like there's like the casual gamer and competitive gamer. And Genshin Impact is leaning more towards casual gamers, while Tower of Fantasy is leaning more towards like, competitive, very like highly invested gamers, that just want to optimize everything. Another example I could think this is like comparing Animal Crossing to Apex Legends. Animal Crossing is like the most casual game ever, and it is designed so that you're able to like just turn your brain off and just relax and go at your own pace and stuff like that. Meanwhile, Apex Legends is one of the best shooting games in the market right now, arguably the best in my opinion. But it's, besides Apex Legends mobile, which has like all the fun modes, which the base client is lacking, there's literally no way to have fun in Apex Legends unless you're winning. So there's very little like casual content to enjoy in Apex Legends, which is why the game is kind of, which, for some gamers that's a good thing, being able to push yourself to the limit and be competitive. For some players, that's what makes gaming satisfying for them. I can attest to that as someone who used to play the Super Smash Brothers and like other fighting games competitively before I kind of dropped off, and I'm now more of a casual gamer myself. But I understand like both sides of the argument. For a game like Super Smash Bros., it has enough depth and content so that it's able to satisfy both the casual and competitive gamer, so that me playing the game only competitively for years and now being more of a casual Smash player, it's not that big a deal. But I feel like Genshin is sort of lacking the content needed to justify the amount of depth that its systems and like gameplay mechanics have. I'm gonna go more into depth with this in my video about like geo and crystallization and what kind of buffs that element needs and what kind of buffs that reaction needs. But I will say that one of the points I'm gonna make in that video is the fact that there's very little content that justifies that element and that reaction's existence. Like, besides the occasional puzzle that's like, oh, well, you have to use this element to open this chest or this door, that's about it, really. So I feel like Genshin just needs more content in general to justify the usage of not only crystallize but just different reaction, and also like different team composition. Like, make content where a character with a shield is constantly like useful in game. Like right now the game is so heavily focused on high amounts of DPS and crowd control that a lot of the defensive characters don't really have a section of the game where they can like shine in. But yeah, I feel like Genshin is still like lacking in content in general to justify a statement like this. I feel like there needs to be more in-game content to give every single type of character a place in the game. Like, it's fine if you have like a character that's like more for like casual players, like like Sayu. She's not like the best animal unit in the game, but exploring the overworld and finding and like looting stuff is pretty fun with her. That's for like the casuals. casual gamer. That's perfectly fine. But like for the competitive gamers, the competitive Genshin players, like there needs to be something more for that, more content for that. Because right now it's just Spiral Abyss, and that's just, ugh. It's so boring, dude. It is so boring. Honestly, the other statements in this article are kind of like whatever to me, because it was mostly just the devs just hard dodging the question. You know, they didn't want to they didn't want to give like a hard answer to any of them because they didn't have that answer they didn't have permission to give those answers from higher ups. So I've seen this before, but this statement right here, no more in-game content, that's the only one that I'm like, yo, not only is this like, I know this is a definitive answer, but like I heavily disagree with it. There definitely needs to be at least one more like in-game mode added to Genshin just to make it more fun. Now, you don't have to go as insane with daily and weekly content as Tower of Fantasy. Like I feel like that game has way too much content to the point where I feel like if I miss even a day of playing the game, it just takes an eternity to catch up. You don't have to go that buck wild for in-game content, but like I just feel like there just needs to be more content in general to justify using all the gameplay mechanics and systems that are in Genshin Impact at the moment, because right now there's not much in the game that incentivizes you using Geo, for example. But yeah, that's about my thoughts on this article. Had some time to sleep on it after this video getting messed up two times in a row, so hopefully this one turns out well. If not, oh well. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how this video is and stuff like that. I do read the comments that you guys post. I greatly appreciate it. And let me know what you guys think about like in-game content in Genshin. Do you feel like content in Genshin is fine right now? Or do you feel like there should be more for like players that have like completed most of the content in the game at this point? But yeah, that's about it for me. Peace.